Hi, my name is Myra.
And I'm Xochitl Gonzalez, and this is Besties in Business, B2B TV, and we are so excited to talk all things publicity with Rachel Van Dolsen of
RVD.
Yeah. I couldn't make those initials in my mind, PR, and we're going to talk about starting your own PR firm, but also get some tips and takeaways for any small businesses out there that are looking to hire a publicist and when's the right time.
Right.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. And I think
Thanks for having me.
PR is one of these things where so many people want to go into PR, and so we wanted to hear more about it.
Well, PR, yeah, I mean, I started straight out of college. I went to UVA down south. I was an English major, and I kind of was hooked up. I worked at LaForce & Stevens, got a great...
Awesome start.
Yeah, great start. I mean, it was a lot of work. I worked crazy weeks. I worked on Belvedere and Veuve Clicquot there, which sounds super glamorous, and it was a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a lot of work, and the hours were really intense.
Right.
So I mean, I was just tossed into the deep end, which is probably why I have my own company now, but also definitely why I have to dye my hair, because I'm sure I have gray hairs. It was a crazy time, but I learned a ton. So definitely, I highly recommend, starting at a crazy first job.
Right.
Get it out of the way.
And learn everything, right? Because there you're just kind of, they throw you in, you just sink or swim. So
totally.
Yeah.
What made you kind of motivate to decide to go off on your own? And did you already have kind of a client roster in the back of your mind, or?
Definitely not. It was a total accident. But yeah, so I was working at LaForce, and then I worked at Nike Communications, which is another great boutique firm. And I worked in spirits there too, and hospitality. And then I went to grad school actually for art history. Yeah, so that was a weird detour. I was a little burnt out on PR, but I was still freelancing at LaForce because you can never really escape. Yeah. And which was great because I was paying the bills doing that, still getting to study. And keeping my Rolodex going, which at the time I didn't know I would need, but ended up being great. And then a friend of mine actually launched a grilled cheese restaurant called Little Munster.
Oh my God.
And we had worked together at LaForce. He was a photographer.
Name.
I know, Little Munster, grilled cheese. And they were my first client. It's a couple, Adam and Vanessa. They're awesome. They hired me. They had worked with me, but I'd never done anything by myself before. So they had a small budget. They're like, we can't afford a big PR firm. Why don't you just do it? We know we like you. And I kind of I said yes, and I thought I could do it, but I still to this day I'm kind of like, that was a little Moxie-like. That was it was a little bit what if you really screwed that up? But it went really, really well. It was a total gangbusters, great press, huge turnout. Anyway, so that kind of started me thinking man, there really is a market for smaller agencies that have reasonable retainers that can still pay their bills. I struggle with that to this day, keeping the retainers low.
Yes.
But still being able to have a staff. But anyway, just an in-between. I mean, I love the LaForce and Stevens of the world. I love Nike Communications, but even those are boutique firms, but they charge real rates.
Yes.
It's a huge investment for a small company.
It is. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So anyway, so that was kind of what I saw as the whole. So when I graduated grad school, I was like, why don't I see if this is a thing? I'll freelance out of my apartment. And I obviously had great contacts. I knew a lot of people in the industry. So that definitely helped. But yeah, and then I started working with Urban Space, which does pop-up markets around the city. They're still a client to this day.
What I think is so interesting is how you were working on such kind of big known brands at LaForce, but how you've got they're boutique, but they're all very high style. So it's it's funny if I don't know if they're self-curated or if you turn away clients that don't seem to fit kind of your strong niche, but they all have a lot of style and substance to them, which is kind of interesting.
And I think that's a lot to do with the fact that I think I'm drawn to, and the people who are drawn to me, it's kind of vice versa. I mean, I'm much better about saying no to clients. You have to.
Right.
I mean, you just have to.
That's how you get that reputation.
Exactly. For many reasons, though, it could be budget, it could be a million different things. It could just be, you want to make sure you can execute and do the best job possible.
Right.
And if you don't think you can because the person and you don't really seem to jive, or it could be a million things, but now it's one of my big things. I'm trying to be better about learning to say no, which is hard for women in general, I think.
It is, but it's like, it keeps coming up today. This idea of editing, your options is like almost the only real surefire way to growth, because like otherwise you get distracted.
And for you, as with us, it's a relationship. It's not, they're not coming in and buying something from you and then walking right back out. Like, you are building this relationship.
Totally. So it's all about, and I mean, of course, like there are plenty of brands that are just getting started or, maybe need a little help, and that's a great in. That's something that I can help with. Yeah. I mean, I know, but I also I work with and know a lot of great branding companies, many of which are like women run. So I will recommend those to clients, or they'll recommend me. It's becoming nice to have a network of people I trust.
Totally. You're selling something that you can't guarantee, and like, how do you manage expectations for that? And how do you keep the relationship positive when maybe a campaign there wasn't enough of a story there? Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. And this is what makes PR such a stressful, hard job. And this is what is the reason I'm stressed a lot of the time. It's because it's editorial, you can't guarantee anything. Right. But the key is, working with the client ahead of time to let them know kind of, these are the bare bones, this is the bare minimum of what we really think, no matter what, we can get for you. Right. So that they know that everything beyond that is great, and we really think that we can get you more. Right. But being honest about upfront what they can expect. Not everyone's going to be on the Today Show in the first month of working with us. And but I do want to know where they want to see themselves. It just takes time. It's all a matter of like, one thing will lead to the next, and those relationships, building a great relationship with an editor for them, not just for me. I mean, obviously I have them, but I also want my clients to feel like they get to know them too, so that the editor, when they're writing a trend piece, will come to them.
You don't know when you have a good publicist until you've had bad ones, right? Like,
that's so true. I have a great client, Macaroon Parlor. They just opened the first cat cafe in New York called Meow Parlor.
Oh, I saw that.
Which was a media sensation. Yes. But they're amazing. They're a couple as well. And Emily is another partner in the business. Anyway, but they had a publicist they did not like that much. I don't even know who it is, so I won't name drop them. Right. But when they came on, we did the opening of their second Macaroon Parlor location, and they were, pretty down on PR. I remember being like, wow, they really hate PR. And I was kind of like, oh man, like this could be, I hope I make them like it. But now they are like the biggest proponents of PR, and they're such supporters of me and referring me to other people because they had a great experience. Right. And it's all just a matter of, some brands, PR isn't the right thing for them right there. It's not the right thing to invest in for everybody.
That's important for people to know also. Like, there might not be a story yet.
Do it. I'm the biggest proponent of waiting until you have you have a great branding, you have your branding on looks good, your website is in progress or almost ready to go, you know kind of what it is you're trying to say about yourself. And of course, my job is to help package that and make that newsworthy. You don't have to come to me with a perfect story, but at least some ideas of what it is that you think is pressworthy about what you're doing. A little bit of forethought into what's going on here, and then we can help you package that. The most important thing for us is to have the assets that we need. If we don't have great photos, we're not going to get great press. If we don't have a great bio and a headshot for you, or you'll let us take one with our photographers. So those are just non-negotiable. And if someone's going to be difficult about it and be like, oh, but we can use this, also trust us that we know what we're doing. And also, it's a relationship, exactly. Like, be willing to be a part of it and tell us what you want, and we can get that for you.
I'm curious because you're saying about how you're always on your phone. So once you start bringing other people on, like, how do you find other people to work with you?
To do that.
Because it's one thing, right, when you started and this is like your business baby. So when you're expanding.
Right. Well, I have a great team, and they're amazing. And I really try to convey to them that even though I am available all the time to our clients, I don't really expect the same. Not to say that I don't want them to work hard, and they do work so hard. But I do, and I'm also all about work-life balance too. Like, I say I'm always on my phone, but I take vacations. I go away for the weekend. I'm actually going to Canyon Ranch for the first time in my life in 2 weeks, and I'm so excited. But I'm all about going out to dinner. If you need to work from home one day because you have a personal reason. I'm a person. I'm willing to have that conversation. And we're small enough that I want my team to feel like they can talk to me about things, and But with that said, I work really, really hard.
Yeah.
So I hope that, and I think it does rub off on them.
Yes.
But I also, just because I am on my phone all the time, I don't think it's necessarily the sane choice for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Right. What are the core roots that somebody needs in order to be publicizable, I guess, right?
I think a lot of it is, having a nice brand and good
Yeah.
branding, I think it's a good investment, especially, or even just knowing what you are
Yeah.
and being willing to say it, having a niche. I think that's one thing. I also think being willing to tell your personal story really helps.
Yeah.
Especially now, I think a lot of stories where the entrepreneur kind of is willing to talk about what it took to get there,
Yes.
or what were some of the obstacles, kind of a behind the scenes look. I think that's important. And it also doesn't have to be 20 pages long, it can be one paragraph.
Yes.
Being willing to tell that story, I think is important. I also think a lot of it is visual too.
Right.
Having beautiful photographs of your product or your space or your food. We live in a super visual world
Yeah.
right now with Instagram, and even you can build a beautiful website on Squarespace now.
Yeah. I'm a giant Squarespace.
Yeah, I am too.
You're using all of her buzzwords.
Good. Well, it's so great.
Because there's no reason to have a bad website. Like, if you're a business owner.
Right.
There's no
It's so
reason.
easy. It's like literally you're
it's not
dragging
only-
photos.
It's not only easy, but it's now affordable. So it's
Exactly.
like you can just get down to the business of just styling yourself.
Definitely. And a less is more thing, like you were mentioning earlier. I think know what you are, say what you are, be clear.
Yeah.
A couple of beautiful visuals, and that's really all you need.
Yeah. How much have you had to start taking over sort of creative social media stuff? Because
More and more.
yeah.
And I worked in PR, straight PR. But when I worked at Nike Communications, I actually helped them start their social media for the agency themselves.
Okay.
So and that was 2008 or 2009.
Yeah.
So even then, I kind of realized that was the direction things were going, and that you needed to. You're not going to beat it, so you should join it now.
Right.
And now PR and social media, not that they're fused, but they're very, very interconnected. I have a personal Instagram. I don't have an RVD Communications Instagram, although we are launching one in May. But it's one of those things that it's hard. I run a lot of Instagram accounts for my clients. I run my personal Instagram account. I have a website to manage. I have a dog and a boyfriend and a life and a business. So it's just another thing. And I understand, but it's invaluable. You really, and that's one of the big things we help our clients with is if it's not doing their day-to-day social, it's doing their splash pages, helping them take photos. For us, a lot of it is just getting our photographer in there to get a backlog of photos for them. And that way they're not like, oh shoot, taking some badly lit, horrible photo. That way they have those things. Just making it as easy for yourself as possible.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh my gosh. I think probably to relax a little bit. It's hard. I'm one of those people who's always looking at the next thing. How can what's next? What's next? So I would probably just say enjoy. Be calm, but also, continue working hard. I don't know. I think it's important for women to know that if they work hard, good things are gonna happen.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And what does the growth look like to you in 5 years?
Oh goodness. Sorry, that's a bad reaction. I know. I'm so excited. It's just hard to know. Right now we're 4 full time with some interns, but I don't know. It's hard to know what is the ceiling and how many people. I really want to stay small.
No, I know. That's
so. Maybe 10 at the most people, but it's really just working. For me, it's working with great clients and telling awesome stories. And maybe I'm really Brooklyn based right now, which I love, but maybe I'm now doing a little bit more national, international stuff, a little bit more of that. It's the New York winters aren't great, so I'd be cool. I'd be happy to go to San Francisco or LA a little bit more.
You're in our brain.
In our brains, Bay Area next week. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
You guys are amazing. Thank you. This is such a fun show.
Yay! So on social media, your Instagram's not launched yet, but it will be.
Yeah. Well, my personal one is Rachel Norma, which is mostly business anyway. So.
Okay. And we're at bestiesinbusiness.com, and on Instagram it's at bestiesinbiz. Actually on all social. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.